Hey WordNerds, it's Shaelin from the YouTube channel ShaelinWrites, and I'm really excited to be guest vlogging here today. So on my channel, I make videos about writing twice a week from a variety of topics. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. Right now I'm doing a series on point of view, and then later on I'm going to be doing a couple video series on prose, talk about plot, I talk about my own writing and how it's going and my life as a creative writing student and all of the weird craziness that's involved with that. So today I wanted to talk about specific details with you because I recently had a bit of a eureka moment about using specific details. It's something that my writing profs talk about all the time. They're always like, use good specific details. But I had a really good aha moment about like how to actually use them. I thought I would share with you to start off the example that really clicked my specific detail using into place. So I was writing a short story for school, and in the first draft there was a line that mentioned that there was a potted plant hanging on the door. When I do my revisions for short stories, I print them off and I write all over them and they get super scribbly. One of my editing key terms is SW, which means stronger word. I was going through, and usually my stronger words are for things like verbs or like combining an adjective and a noun or combining an adverb and a verb. I reached this one point where I mentioned that there was this plant and I was like, that is very vague. Like, what kind of plant? So I wrote SW underneath potted plant. So when I came back, I was like, okay, so I really should specify what type of plant this is. The story was set in Budapest, so I googled some Hungarian gardening websites, looked up types of potted plant, and I just picked the one whose name I liked the most. And that might seem like, it seems like I should pick one that would actually be like relevant for some reason, but I literally just picked the one whose name I thought sounded the prettiest, and that was a Dracaena. And I thought that the sentence sounded so cool and looked so cool on the page to say there was a wilted Dracaena, instead of saying there was like a wilted potted plant. Being as specific as you can, not just enhance the meaning of your story, which is what I'd always been using it for, but the musicality of your prose and make your prose sound so much more intricate and detailed. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean piling on 20 billion adjectives. It can just mean using a stronger noun or mostly using a specific noun. So for example, instead of saying that there was a bird in a tree, you could say that there was a kestrel in the poplar. I don't know why those are the bird and tree that came to mind. It's unique to your story. Non-specific details are not unique to your story. They're very vague and they could really apply to anything. But when you pick details that are very unique to your story, it allows your story to have its own language. It overall just makes your story seem very intricate. As simple as instead of saying that a car was blue, saying a car was teal. Or instead of saying that a character was drinking tea, specifying the type of tea. Sometimes it does have significance, maybe, but I often like to pick these details just because of how they sound in the sentence and in the tone of the story. Like Dracaena, it fit the tone of how the story was being told and the language the story was being told, because when I hear the word Dracaena, it sounds very old to me. It just kind of ancient sounding, it kind of sounds like a dragon, and this was a story that had a lot of allusions to Shakespeare and was written in kind of a slightly antiquated, is that the word? Tone. And so that's why it kind of felt right over saying like a peace lily, which was another one that came up on the list. But a lot of time just picking what goes with the story. So if you're picking the type of tea, are they drinking Earl Grey? Are they drinking hibiscus? Pick the one that gives the most musicality to the sentence and just feels the most vivid within that context. I will say that a lot of my quest to find specifics comes from just reading lists of things, reading lists of birds, googling shades of yellow until I find one that has a name that I like, searching up all of these weird things that I never thought I would search. It's a lot of reading lists of things, but a lot of the time those details also come from looking at visual references. From the same story I was mentioning, it was set in Budapest, where I've never been to. So I was searching a lot of pictures of Budapest. I was Google Mapsing Budapest to see how long it would take the character to walk from this location to this location, and looking through these images because it's very hard to conjure up specifics, especially of a place you aren't very familiar with, from your brain. Google Maps is like so good. I also like to watch travel vlogs of places if I'm writing in a real world place that I've never been to. Thank you for having me on your channel today and having a little ramble about specific details. I'll be shameless. My channel is ShaelinWrites. I, it appears, cannot shut up about writing because I talk about it constantly on the internet. So if you like to talk about writing, then I would love to talk about writing with you. And I will see you later. Bye.